would like to really discuss the challenges that we see in the automotive supply chain when it comes to long-haul air freight. And the issue, you hear a lot of talks about air freight capacity too big. The other one says capacity not enough. If you talk to some shippers, they say the air freight rates are too high. Others say the air freight rates are so low, this is not profitable. Some say automotive supplies are down. Others say automotive supplies are up. So it's interesting, the more people I talk to, the more different opinions I'm getting. So I think that group that we have here with an airport that is looking at growing supply chains. We have the shipping industry of that. So it's going to be an interesting one. So who wants to start? Just tell the group like what you're doing in a brief message.
So thank you. Myself, Thakur Purushottam. So I'm the business head for the GMR Goa Cargo and also represent the GMR Airports Limited. So basically, just to see, I've seen a lot of other panel eminent discussions what we had. There's a lot of talks about inventory management, multimodal. So there are a lot of solutions where we have focused. So GMR focuses basically on the cargo and logistics. So what we have done is basically now to cater as a catalyst. We play a very important role in just like just now Mr. Joachim has also told about. So we are a main supply chain catalyst, what we can say as an airport operator, as a cargo terminal operator. So we bring in all the stakeholders on a single platform to see that your goods are transferred from the manufacturing directly to the onward destinations. So just to give you what we are doing to boost this basically in auto industry. So earlier we were focusing on a commodity specific like on a pharmaceuticals and then perishables, and then now what we see, it's 7 to 8%, which is contributing to the India's economy. And if you see the fourth largest manufacturing hub, what we have. So for this, we are coming up basically done a lot of focus on this. So if you see, we run 3 to 4 airports now. Like Delhi is our main gateway port where we are operating. We also have the Hyderabad and we also have the Goa. And next coming up is Nagpur and Bhogapuram. So just to give you a brief about, in Delhi, we are coming up within 50 acres of development, which is kind of a cargo city concept, wherein you will have an SEZ on airport at the Indian gateway port. So that is one thing where we can really look out the supply chain, auto supply chain to use this particular gateway port. In that, we will also be having a general warehouses, bonded warehouses, dry warehouses, and all these office spaces are also available. So that's a part of the infrastructure development, what we are doing it. And apart from that, in Hyderabad, we already have 100 acres of SEZ on airport plus the FTWZ. And we also have a very big connectivity. We have a cargo terminal which can currently cater up to 150,000 metric tons of capacity. And we are coming up with a new cargo terminal and the expansion also. Now coming back, which is very close to this auto supply chain, we wanted to make you aware. So we have come up with a greenfield cargo terminal in Mopa, which is Manohar International Airport, which is in Goa. So we have a cargo terminal capacity of 30,000 metric tons. So there we have focused on pharma, perishable. Now our next thing is to boost the auto sector. Why? Because we are very near to this particular manufacturing hub. It's a 10 hours drive from there. We can connect globally. So we have a lot of belly space available. So people were talking about majorly on the challenges of the multimodal. So we already have this kind of a solutions in place where we wanted to make aware the auto supply chain. Like today, you being in Pune, you can use the alternate gateway. Currently what you are using it, you say the belly space is not available, the costs are high, and you cannot control the geopolitical situations, but still there is a room for it where we can really see that you already have both the ICDs here, which you can do your cross-border custom clearance and send it to the airports where the flights are coming empty and going. So we have only on the metros which are going full, and your transit times are also increasing. But you already have an alternate which is there. So a year back, we have already opened this cargo terminal, which can cater to all kinds of an auto industry, whether it could be in a high-end OEMs or a prototype, or you want to do a kind of a project cargo. The cargo terminal, what we designed is like a direct port delivery. So we have a well good infrastructure which is available currently. So make utilization of that, and maybe going forward, we will see what are the other questions which will be coming up as per the discussion.
Okay, thank you. Tiger Logistics, tell us about your company. For me, that was new.
So, hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Hemant Rai, and I'm heading Auto Division at Tiger Logistics. First, to answer your question, Tiger Logistics was born because of automotive. Yes. So, Honda and Hero, they came in and they were setting up their businesses, like they need clearance service, they needed forwarding, and that's when Tiger Logistics came into existence in the year 2000. So, we are now completing 25 years next year. And we have, so what I have been doing in Tiger is that I come from an auto background itself. I was in an automotive for almost 11 years. And that's where I bring in expertise so that I can understand the product in a better manner and provide the right kind of solutions. I have seen a lot of challenges which have happened over a period of time in a span of almost 11 years. There are things there were situations which we've handled, and very rightly said that, because of the new infrastructure, I think we have more scope to grow better, and the automotive sector can do a little bit more business around that space, since we are talking about air. Ocean, already we are moving around 90% of the cargo through ocean, and 10% is through air. However, just to quote, in terms of value, the cargo being moved by air is almost 35% what it holds, the market holds. So that's what we have been doing. We have been growing with the time. There have been a lot of customers, all new experiences. And you rightly said about the market, since we were discussing that day, that how the market is doing right now. I think everybody has spoken around the component segment. I see a lot of eminent speakers still sitting here, and they spoke about the auto components. Let's understand this from the two-wheeler segment, maybe. Since I'm not from a car background, I would like to highlight the two-wheeler segment in that. What kind of shipments go through air? That's the question. When does a situation arise when you need to send the cargo by air? Since Matteo is not here, I will highlight this in a later stage. But for now, thank you, and I think everybody would enjoy this session since we are bringing you a lot of expertise together. Thank you.
The gentleman next to me on the other side is not new to me, Huned Gandhi. You probably know who he is, but let's hear it anyhow, because there might be some newcomers in this round that they are not familiar with Dachser and what Dachser is doing in the world.
Certainly, Roland. Thanks a lot. Good afternoon, everyone, and congratulations also to Stat Times for hosting the 8th edition in Pune. I think it cannot get better than this. Automotive and Pune are very closely linked together. So it's wonderful to be here today. My name is Huned Gandhi. Like Roland mentioned already, I work for Dachser, which is a German-based international freight forwarding company. We are almost now 100 years old, so we started in 1930. This is the 94th year, and in a short while we will be celebrating 100 years of existing. Dachser is a 100% family-owned company with a global turnover of 7 billion euros. So we are not listed, we are not on a stock exchange. It's a 100% family-run company. Coming back to the auto industry, I think there has always been a term that was coined for the automotive industry for many years, which is called VUCA. And I think that continues even today. We are living in a very volatile world. We have seen, like Roland mentioned, sometimes we are seeing freight rates go to very high levels. Sometimes, the markets are going down. So there is never, what we've seen in recent years is there is no certainty as such. So, right. the volatility, the uncertainty, the complexity is getting bigger and bigger. But what has changed is that we as international freight forwarding community and the manufacturing, the fraternity, we have come very close together to handle this crisis in a very, very organized way. These crises keep coming one after the other. We now are facing the Red Sea attacks for almost a year now. And I think we, along with the customers, are coming up with really very, I would say, very robust strategies on how to overcome the challenges that are faced by the supply chain. So look forward to the discussion today. And back to you, Roland.
How do you see the market changing for you here? looking at, for example, the exports, as well as the imports.
Yeah.
Is that for you? Are you happy? Well, normally nobody's ever happy, but is it going in the right direction, or?
It is. I'm very happy to see that India is gaining the importance of being a very reliable manufacturing base for the global supply chains. So this is the shift that we are seeing now towards India. Initially, there was a lot of talk about companies coming to India, and there was also quite a lot of investment. But I see a very, very good future. I think the next 10 years would be really the best period for the Indian industry to really thrive and take use of this opportunity where we can really supply to the whole world. And you see, every customer I see these days, when I'm talking to the CEOs of companies, they're all talking about expansion in India and catering to exports, which was not the discussion a few years ago. This was more imports heavy. We were importing quite a lot. And now, yes, there is still imports, but we are now talking about exports. And this is really bringing us to the forefront of the global supply chains.
But isn't export something that India always has been doing?
Yes, but the pace at which I see India growing in the next 10 years is going to be very different. Very different.
Okay.
And also it's a very automotive supply chains. It's a topic that is close to my heart because we have quite a lot of automotive customers in India and globally as well. And the kind of discussions we have at sessions like this. I mean, a few years ago, we were sitting on panels and we were discussing big data, artificial intelligence, machine learning and things like that. And recently I was attending a manufacturing company's program, and there we were talking already about Industry 5.0. So the pace at which things are changing, now we are talking 5.0 where robots and humans are working together in the industries. And I see Indian companies also at the forefront when we are talking about the latest developments in manufacturing. So I would say the next 10 years, we can really leverage this as India. The kind of investments we are seeing. Purushottam ji just spoke about, connecting different airports. I mean, multimodal transport is one big thing that we are talking about. Infrastructure. You name it, and India is working on all these topics. So we want to be, I think there's a very clear vision from the government as well that India should be in the top 25 of the logistics index, the logistics performance index, and I see no reason why we will not be there. So I am always positive, and I feel, okay, there could be some short-term challenges that we are facing right now. Few people say that automotive slowing down a little bit, too many cars with the dealers, push back to the manufacturing companies. But I think these challenges we've seen before. These are all part of demand and supply. But if you look at the medium to long term, India stands to gain.
Yeah.
Just to add on to that also, I think you rightly said about that, a lot of integration, like Joachim also talked about the Air Cargo community system. Now, you sit in Pune, you do your transaction. So that's the way we are also extending our facilities. Like, we are also using the dry ports. That's what we are trying to tell, because we have in Pune, we have 2 ICDs. Currently, they are doing close to 500 tons of air product, which is going, and you can increase it to 1,000 tons easily. So that is the way the integration, the IT innovation which is coming in place, where our air cargo community systems are so compatible that the forwarders, the entire community can use it and make it very simple.
Yeah, how do you see the situation for transshipments, not transshipments, but let's say build-up units? Is that something that you see growing? Like when you're looking at Europe, the known shippers, they build their own ULDs and it travels in a roller bed truck across the country and it's immediately loaded. How is the situation in India? Are the airports allowing build-up and breakdown outside the airport?
No, currently, yes, there was a ministry which has, there was a concept of an air freight station basically. And apart from that, the shipper build unit can be built over there and then it can come on a rollerbed tracks onto the airports. But there is some kind of a regulatory challenges. What we feel is basically the shipper has to have that kind of a regulated agent status, then they need to make it a more sterile and it has to come under the escort. So the things are, we are trying to do a policy advocacy to bring that very soon so that there will be a lot of seamless logistics which will be happening and you can reduce the cost also. Second thing is coming to the airports. The airports needs to really invest in a bigger way to scan those ULDs, because these, when it comes to a cross-border, the regulators don't allow you to just directly get into, just like your shipping lines, direct port delivery, which is not there in air cargo. So very soon we are trying to get this so that we get a larger volumes conversion into the air cargo.
Yeah, when you look at Dachser in Frankfurt, for example, they build their own units.
Yes.
And they have warehouse companies that do it on their behalf. They take care of their own imports. So this is almost bypassing the handlers at the airport, which speeds up the process
Yes.
and reduces cost.
Reduces costs, and what we've also done now is we've connected the Dachser road network, which is one of the largest networks in Europe. We've connected to the air freight and the sea freight operations. So there is a seamless transfer as soon as the shipment arrives. There's a seamless transfer to the road units, and then the road units are distributing the shipments to all over Europe.
Yeah.
So at that, we are saving a lot of time with that because of, thanks to Frankfurt Airport, the infrastructure there and the speed at which we can do things. Joachim also spoke about, digital processes. Those are helping us to really retrieve shipments much faster, connect them to the road network seamlessly, and distribute them globally, distribute them to the European cities in a very, very quick and a seamless manner.
But the same could be beneficial for this end here.
Yes,
How do you
right.
see that?
I mean, if we talk about how transparent the system is, how we can connect the shipments together, the multimodal thing, which we talked about, earlier panels also talked about a lot of things in air. I see that, there is one infrastructure thing which I would like to point out, that there might be a scanner at the airport. It's the only scanner, and there are a lot of cargo moving in at night, and that's when the shipment gets stuck. And so based on the infrastructure, I think air is going to be the next big thing for auto. But let me, deviate from a topic a little bit and tell you what moves by air.
Mm-hmm.
So these are some important shipment. This can be majorly the sample shipments, as in if you want to reach there first in the country, if there are all the two-wheelers trying to send their products to a particular country, and you want to send the sample shipments, you cannot just send it by container. It will take a lot of days to reach there. So it's better you send it through air. It goes there, it gets displayed, they get responses, and based on those responses, then the order comes in, or even the planning comes in, where the company decides whether to go into that country or not, whether to launch that particular product. I will give you an example of Piaggio here. So Piaggio launched an Aprilia 450, and that was going to their next best bike across Europe, right? And it was supposed to go to Italy, but somehow due to, as we talked about, procurement of parts and, so the procurement of parts and the quality check, there is a parts quality in every factory. So this process got delayed, and then they were left with no time to send the shipment to Italy, get it launched, and get the product to the customer, to the end user. And they had to ship all 450 or 470 bikes by air. So this is the kind of movement we are looking for. As everybody in the panel has rightly said, that if there is no urgency, nobody chooses air, right? Because it is not cost effective. However, I would like to point out here that even in air cargo industry, there are some kind of advancements, modernizations going on, where they might also use sustainable fuel. They might look for an alternate, transshipment ports or low haul destination, where they can probably, save some cost for the customer, save some fuel. There are some other, there's something called the fuel hedging, long-term contract, where you freeze the prices no matter what the price is about in the market right now. And that's where also, if you save some cost, basically if you're offering a better deal to the customer will definitely take it and move the goods from there. So there are other components which are being moved in auto, and this is through the two-wheeler or three-wheeler or four-wheeler manufacturers. They have something called replacement shipments that is also going a lot, because we were talking about this forfeiting previously, right? So they have some markings already on various alloys or other parts, which is identified by the government also. They send the notification. There is a lot of research and certifications happening around it, and then the product is sent to a particular country. If it doesn't have that kind of markings on those particular parts, the entire lot gets rejected. What will you do? You'll have to, suppose if it's alloy, right, for a 1000cc bike, then the entire product which was sent earlier is kind of rejected. You need to send it. So now the other parts are waiting to be assembled at a particular line, and there's just one part which is being waited out for. Then I think air is the solution.
Yeah, because add on to that, just-in-time inventory helps a lot for the auto supply chain to manufacture, because that's where the air cargo comes into picture. Plus your connectivity, as you rightly said about the transshipments. I think all the airports have now made a lot of transshipment seamless processes where the forwarders are also using it, collecting, consolidating, doing the break bulk, and all those things are happening. Just to tell you about, the scanners and all are the bigger investments, and that kind of a volume should also support. Maybe I don't know how it works out. If you do the entire supply chain, a lot of awareness on the documentation process, because that's where the cargoes takes a lot of time for cross-border clearances and all.
Yes.
So now the manufacturers plus the entire supply chain, like from the regulator perspective, if they are AEOs, they are basically the authorized economic operator as per the customs, plus the supply chain where the forwarder and the airlines are also AEO authorized. So that a lot of things will make this process very simpler, because these are all the products which are being manufactured, which are similar in lines. It's only the brand and the model, other things are changing. So
but when you mentioned that the scanners and equipment at the airport, you see, you have Noida coming up. You're building a new area in your airport. You have Navi Mumbai coming up. That should solve that issue, right? If you have a new airport, there shouldn't be any bottleneck unless there's this wrong planning. So the speed in the airports should go up.
Certainly, most certainly. I think the new airports that are coming up all have, initially the older airports like Mumbai and the city, they had space constraints and there was difficult for cargo to move around. Still, I think we did a fantastic job in Mumbai also to optimize the space in the best possible way to facilitate the trade and the growth also of Indian air cargo, Mumbai Delhi being the front runners, Chennai of course. So I think the new airports, when you're talking about Goa, we were discussing MOPA, I think space is not a constraint at all. You could do a lot of activities. You're talking about free trade, FTW, SEZ zones at the airport. I mean, these things were never existing in India. If you look at maybe 20, 25 years ago, we had an airport and we were happy with that. I mean, now if you're talking about having an extension of an FTWZ, having SEZs, I think things like scanners and all will definitely be added by the airports. And I think this is a requirement that Hemant mentioned, that these are creating the bottlenecks. And I think we must bring up these requirements, and I'm sure they will be taken care of in a much more organized way. We are talking about now, 2025, we are talking about two major new airports coming up, Navi Mumbai and Noida. If these things, and this will definitely facilitate the trade. And this will also help in connecting the dry ports, the ICDs, to the major ports, because what we have seen over the last few years, I would say the last 3 to 5 years, we've seen a big surge in these bonded trucking movements connecting all the airports. So I think space capacity can be optimized quite easily, because earlier if you were going from Goa into Bangalore, but now you are going from Goa into Bangalore, you're going into Mumbai, you're going into Hyderabad. So you can use really the capacities of airlines, and the airlines also tend to benefit. They are more motivated to bring in capacity to India because they are not going back empty.
So just to give an example, like geopolitical situation when the Red Sea was happening, we have seen from Mumbai, from Bangalore, a lot of congestion because prices are high. But there were flights in different ports, like which are coming, Qatar was coming and Air India was coming, which was going empty belly. So to optimize this, basically the bonded trucking as a multimodal is coming up very good. So we have developed that kind of a bonded trucking in such a way that we feed into the nearest hub. So we are also getting into Mumbai. So today we stand around 70 to 100 tons. We are doing the bonded trucking, which was not earlier possible. So this is all about the enabling support from the air cargo to see that this the supply chain is very seamless. Apart from that, what you are talking about, like any car which needs to come and all, basically the scanners, that doesn't go from a scanner. So we have made an infrastructure in such a way. This can cater to this kind of cargos. So we have, whether it goes into domestic or in the international, we have some kind of a facility approved as per the regulators. We have made it so that seamlessly you can go directly and then you can do the build up and then it directly gets into the loading. So that kind of an infrastructure we have planned. So we are coming up with the new Greenfield Cargo Terminal in Nagpur also. In Hyderabad, we are expanding. So all these challenges what we face today for the air cargo, we are trying to get that on board.
For you, do you see the speed in the airports going up, down, or static?
Well, I definitely see that there are a lot of airports coming in, and that would definitely boost exports because, see, a lot of automotives are now coming towards India. Those which were already present in India, the global brands, they are trying to increase the production here. Why? There are two reasons for it. One is the part quality. Every component company is so focused on the quality of the parts, the way they procure it, the way they are manufacturing it. Everything is in sync as per the process, as per the design, as per the regulations. So more and more of companies, they want to invest here. Like VinFast was the latest one, I guess, which came into the Chennai. And that's where I see that the airports, they are doing a good job. Like Goa definitely I would like to use. Mumbai, I used it in COVID times, and there were a lot of shipments. Of course, there would be, there would be a little congestion or something like that, even at the seaports. You cannot just really blame the airline all the time. Even at seaport, there's a lot of congestion, and that's when we move the cargo through air. And I see that the airports are developing. If the Noida airport comes in, it would majorly support, I guess, the renewable energy or automotive too. However, it would mostly support the renewable energy because there are a lot of solar companies, a lot of biogas companies which procure part from Germany and the other parts of the world, and they begin to.
How do you see the ratio of exports via imports changing?
So let me give you a small information about what is currently happening in automotive. Just like we are focusing on localization of parts, in a similar way, other countries are also focusing. They also want to save some cost, right? We were sending CKD. Those who don't know CKD is completely knocked down. And basically all the parts are there in one container. And as soon as you open it, you take it to the assembly line. And then it gets, you can do that in a fraction of seconds. So another update that a motorcycle, if it is of 100 or 150 cc, it takes only 30 to 40 seconds to be built, right? All the parts are available already, it goes onto the conveyor, and 30, 40 seconds, that's all. Your bike is already ready.
Sounds fast.
Yeah, that's what we are doing right now. And that is the reason. And I've been to Bangladesh, Thailand, Vietnam. I've been to these parts where I saw that, the quality is kind of okay. But the manpower, the training, the alignment is not in sync with the plan. So that's how I see that a lot of growth is supposed to happen here in India because of our manpower, because of our technical skill. There are so many centers being opened by government. Yeah, definitely you can read in newspapers that there is unemployment, but it would not be in every part of country. Those people who are skilled, who are doing their ITIs and all, they are definitely getting jobs in the automotives. They are able to participate in the bigger change which we are about to see. And I think the EVs are also playing an important role. And since I don't know that what will be the regulations since EV to be sent through air, that is still my question. That is still I need to figure it out. But if I talk about these combustion engines, I guess this has a very big role to play. And a lot of cargo is already being moved by air. However, we are not, shipping a large quantity. But still, things will get there eventually based on the service being provided by us. We need to educate the customer. Nobody thinks about that. Everybody says, that we are building a service. Okay, you have built up a service, very good, thumbs up to you. But then it should reach the customer, right? It's the end customer who has to use it. If he is not aware of that service, if he's not aware of your schemes, if he's not aware of what better he can do to improvise upon his process, then that's the real question. That's where we are lacking. And it is not just, the infrastructure's responsibility or the forwarder's responsibility. It's a collective responsibility. Whosoever should go, everybody is trying to join hands together. As I said earlier, strategic partnership is the future. If we all align together and if we all train the customer together, I guess things will be in a better shape.
Yeah, that's one of the main reasons why we are here.
Yes.
And that's what we are doing. We're trying to join forces on certain trade lanes. We want to assist, or not assist, but both ends benefit from joint cooperation. When we have electronic submissions of data, and we're trying to get rid of paperwork wherever possible. Electronic airway bills, I don't know if this is happening soon, as long as some customs officials in the world want the print of the electronic airway bill printed out, stamped, rescanned it, and then being electronic again, things like that. That's counterproductive, basically. But you said joining hands. Last time we were sitting here, we were talking about blue-collar worker shortages. There were no truck drivers. There was no unskilled workers, so to say, that are working at the airport. Is that changing, that situation, or is it still a challenge?
I think there is a well-concerted effort to address these problems as well. So overall, if you're saying a few years ago, we also spoke about infrastructural challenges.
Yes.
Now we don't speak about that anymore because we just mentioned a few minutes ago that our airports are getting better and better. We are getting more airports. We have CMA here, so a lot of things happening on the sea freight side as well. We have Virinium coming up in a quite a big way. That would be quite an interesting port to watch in the south of India.
Yeah.
Vadhavan has been announced, so in Maharashtra. So I think the infrastructure investments are well on its course. The shortages of drivers, and I always find this to be more of short-term or medium-term challenges, but then these can be overcome as well. So it's not a showstopper as such as of now as we speak, but I think the more, you mentioned a very, very interesting point also, which Joachim mentioned in his discussion, was digitalization. Mm-hmm. I think if the industry is moving from 4.0 to 5.0, when we are talking about robots working together with humans on a shop floor, and this is not something that will happen 20 years later.
It's happening
as we speak.
Absolutely.
Now. It's happening in companies in India as well. So it's like we've been pretty much advanced from that point of view. And I think this is one area where we can really work up on the digitalization part of it, make our processes more seamless and much more faster. So this also enhances the flow of the goods from point A to point B. And let's not forget the shippers. They're the most important part. This creates that visibility to the shippers or the consignees looking at export or import on where their shipment is at that point of time.
You're mentioning a valid point. We have that issue that in the past the airport was really
a black hole.
It's a black hole. The cargo was going in, at some time it came back out. But now with the dashboards we have in place, with the cargo community systems we have in place, it is visible. There's a timestamp once the cargo is offloaded the aircraft, once it hits the apron, once it goes on the dolly, once it hits the warehouse, when it gets into the warehouse, when the customs clearance starts, and so on and so on, and you can see where it is. This is like a couple of years ago, everybody said we want to have the cargo industry like an integrator. Yes. You're ordering something online, you want to know where that package is. You want to know where your part is, because maybe your production line has to be slowed down if that part doesn't arrive. This is speed that is coming up, but on the other hand, I was surprised to hear this morning that due to price calculations, there is the situation that you're combining air via Dubai and then put it on a vessel that is combining basically the slowest transport with the fastest transport. Is that realistic for you, or how do you see that?
Yes, as Mr. Vijay Varghya was here, right? In the previous panel, he discussed how he brought the goods from Germany to Jebel Ali, and then from Jebel Ali he got it to India. And this I also faced, from the northern part of Germany. I was trying to procure some goods and I was trying to ship it in my previous company. And it was supposed to come to India in just 35 days. However, the rail also, it's connected to the shipping line. If some of us don't know, it is connected. If you have a proper booking in your hand, only then the goods would be moved by rail, right? So it got stuck, and I was speechless. I had to meet a deadline. So in that case, I planned it through air to a certain airport, and then I brought it to India. So we cannot say that, earlier that air and sea are different kind of services. I think it's combined now. We already talk about multimodal in every other event, and we are trying to, improvise on the process. But the important thing is that our thinking must change. It's not the process which has to evolve. It's we who have to evolve. It's the customers who have to evolve. They have to think beyond what has been going on. We have to, get rid of the conventional methods and think about something new. And that's why we have gathered here. And if I talk about air, yes, air is going to be a very big thing, very next big thing, because these wars are going nowhere. Geopolitical situations are going to be there. Sometimes there are certain countries which ban India-based products also. I mean, I'm not going to name them right now, but yes, it happened with India recently. So in that case also, what will you do? You'll have to find other measures. Other measures are very important, and alternate measures will contribute to the air thing also, because if the ocean like China, if you want to procure from China, then every time there is a surge in the price, or maybe if it's a peak season, in peak season you don't get the equipments, or maybe if you have equipments, you don't have the space available, and in that case, you have any which ways have to bring the cargo, and you will bring the cargo by air.
But the question to the floor is, what is more important, speed or price?
I would say speed.
You say speed, is that the same opinion here?
Price does matter. I don't deny it. It's the fact, right? Because if the commodity you are going to sell, if the procurement is not that easy, it's not that simple, it's not that cost effective, then I guess it contributes to the wastage in terms of price. But even reliability and speed is important.
Yeah, but like an airport, he's trying to cut out the time that the cargo takes through the airport, but then on the other hand, once it's shipped, everybody seems to be deeply relaxed as long as the price is low. And we have that same in other parts of the world, that it's all of a sudden, when it comes to price, speed, the subject speed is gone. Is that something that you would agree to? Or?
No. What we have also experienced, as he rightly said, I think most of them have given a right answer, like speed is more... Now today what has happened, there is a stringent tax which have been committed to the manufacturing, committed to the exporters, and the forwarders also have that kind of a tax which needs to go. If they can really plan accordingly, this kind of a multimodal, like they were doing it from Jebel Ali, and it fits into their TAT, and then the commercial also gets absorbed. I think definitely that's a good option to have it for certain commodity specific, where you really can absorb that kind of a timing.
Do you see any link to the value of the good that is flown versus the value of the good that is put on a vessel? I remember some discussions that I had a couple of years ago with Wellspun here in India. They say they're bringing the cotton from the United States on a vessel, but the moment the cotton turns into a bathrobe or into a towel, it changes into air freight.
Yeah, it's all need-based at the end. So yes, there is definitely an element of value to it, that high-value goods traditionally or even still are flown by air quite a lot. But then it's all a matter about needs and urgencies. If you have the urgency, yes. Hemant was giving an example of Piaggio, where they had to send even motorcycles by air. We had done charters where we sent trucks by air. Yes. Because we had to send 2 trucks by an Antonov aircraft. I think Binu was here, our sales, and Binu and I were on the aircraft loading the trucks because they had to go on that time for the exhibition. So it's always, I think, speed, price, everything is related. It all depends on the requirements. If you have a requirement that it has to go in 2 days, then definitely, speed takes over price and every other factor, because you have to go in 2 days. But if you have, let's say, 10 days, but you can't wait 35 days for a sea freight, then you have a sea air product where you can go in 10 days. You come into Jebel Ali and ship it via there. So you have different solutions for different needs, and I think it all starts with the needs of the customer. So a very clear dialogue with the customers on what is actually needed, and then provide the solutions. Because if a customer needs speed, but you give him price, it doesn't help. He wants the cargo to reach in 2 days. So you give him a very low price by air freight, but reaches in 10 days, it's not going to help. So it all starts and ends with the customer on the requirements, and then we can always, freight forwarding companies and airports and stakeholders, all of us together can always provide the right solutions based on those requirements.
When it comes to air capacity, what we see is the moment you start bargaining down or drilling down the price to a level that is close to the ground, the attractiveness of the market for the airline is dwindling.
Yes.
So and then you have the carrier that says, where do I put that aircraft, from A to B, where the profit is X, or whether I put it from C to E, where there's X plus 500%. So it goes without
Exactly.
question that
Exactly.
it's
Exactly.
reallocated.
And so then you choose the Express or the Wonder products that are available with Lufthansa Flash or
Yeah.
Express with any of the airlines, and because that has a time definite transit time. Otherwise, like Roland mentioned, I mean, you go cheap, or on a regular air freight product, and then if the aircraft is full, you know which cargo gets bumped off the first one.
Back to the time, you said the truck routes within India, with the better and better road conditions, they become more attractive. We had that discussion here of the automotive. They said we don't want to go down the hill to Mumbai because of the potholes and the road conditions there. I saw when I came up here the new tunnel coming up pretty fast. So the combination of a new airport here with enhanced road conditions. We tried to run at some point in time charters into Nasik, and nobody wanted to go to Nasik because they said the road is killing the product. But again, that is speed. Speed. Are you willing to pay price for higher speed?
So basically, I would pay price for the speed, but then what I meant is that it is all about efficient planning, right? You cannot just skip 2 vessels and then you can say, okay, right, I have to bring this cargo by air just because I didn't plan it efficiently. So I'm not saying that. There are certain category of commodities, there's certain category of parts which are to be procured. As he rightly said, there are some higher value parts and some are manageable. I mean, even if you have certain lots kept here, you can still manage. So I would go for speed any given day. But I didn't say that price is irrelevant. I didn't say that.
That's a combination.
But going forward, what I see is based on the volume we're going to have in near future, I think the prices might come down with the sustainable fuel, or kind of technology advancements in terms of engine, where earlier the airline, the aircraft is drinking the fuel. However, now it's versus it's sipping it.
Yeah.
So there's going to be a difference, huge difference in terms of air prices. I wanted to add one more thing. As you said about the bonded truck, I did use it, and I've kind of found it reliable also. But there's one thing I think I really identified a focus area and an improvement area there, which was the transit time. Now, if the cargo is coming from Bangalore to Delhi in a bonded truck, and it is supposed to come to the airport, what time ideally it should take? How many days?
From Bangalore to Delhi?
Bangalore to Delhi, 1800 kilometers.
Roughly.
Anybody can answer that.
Bangalore to Delhi, it's maybe
3 to 4 days.
3 to 4 days, right? So it took me around 6 days to get the cargo here, and so I think that's the improvement area. I'm not criticizing anything right now. What I'm saying is that every time we see some of the other product which we're trying to develop, I see a focus area and I see an improvement area. That's what I see because I have both the experiences. I have been a shipper and now I'm a freight forwarder. So when I analyze things, I analyze from both the prospects.
So as you rightly said, like you were telling about a perfect planning, like nowadays you're seen as a passenger, you print your boarding card, and if you have an express check-in, it's quite easy and seamless.
Even Digi Yatra.
Yeah, Digi Yatra.
Yeah.
So there's something like when we do this cross-border clearances, that will make your life easier by 50%, right? And once you clear the cross-border clearance, it's like in a green channel cargo for getting into the hubs and getting out of it. So that's the advancements which we are trying to bring in. We have already brought in and we have seen a lot of difference. Like people now started moving on the bonded trucking, using a lot of bonded trucking, so that the airline belly space is also really optimized and all. So the moment it hits the cargo terminals, there is no process. It's just an airline has to accept and then start building up, and then you just need to do a ready for carriage and load it.
Okay,
So
anything you want to add to that?
I fully agree with that. I think a few years ago we didn't have so many of these bonded trucking solutions. Now we have them, and there are a lot of advancements. Definitely, as Hemant mentioned, some of them need to improve a bit. There's always scope for improvement, but I also feel that at the same time we are building up more solutions to the customer. So I think that's the right way to move forward.
So once to add on to that, maybe we need to add a lot of improvement which we need to do it. So bonded trucking is like from Delhi to Bangalore is like quite big distance and all, because bonded trucking is very flexible, 500, 700, 800 kilometers. When we do a lot of like truck terminals where the cross docking happens, so maybe that can increase the efficiency, the productivity and other things and all.
I can encourage you, when you're looking at Europe, bonded trucking of
It's been there for ages.
from the UK to Italy, absolutely acceptable. And
It
the
works like
companies,
clockwork. They have a fixed departure time, a fixed arrival time.
Correct.
We have to get there. For sure,
Sure.
there is room for improvement.
Yeah. And we, for us in Frankfurt, we see that also. We got more than 1,000 trucks a day entering and leaving the airport, and that is proof of that product working. You see, and again, it comes back to the airlines. They are centralizing the operations and going into a hub and trucking, and the same will happen here. I think we can talk for hours. It's always a good subject to discuss. Gentlemen, thanks for participating, and again, Stat, thanks for inviting us. It's always good. We are learning, and I'm already looking forward to next year's edition, December 5. I'll be back.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Right.